Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into something really fascinating, a topic that honestly touches everyone, whether you consciously think about it or not. The habits of the wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to unpack some, well, pretty profound insights from Thomas Corley's book, The Habits of the Wealthy. And look, this isn't just about stacking cash.
No, not
It's more about a whole way of living that honestly could really transform your life. Think of it as getting well informed about how some people build lasting success, not just financial, but, the whole picture.
That's a great way to put it. Thomas Corley, he's a renowned U.S. accountant, certified financial planner too, runs his own firm.
Right.
And his work, well, it gave him this unique direct window into the financial lives of literally thousands of people and small businesses. I mean, income statements, balance sheets, the works.
Oh, okay.
But what he did with that access, that's the really remarkable part. He spent 5 years meticulously studying the daily habits of 177 millionaires. And this is absolutely key. Almost all of them were self-made. Self-made? Okay, that's important.
Crucial. Then he compared their routines, their choices, their mindsets, everything, to 128 people who were living in poverty. So this wasn't just theory. He had direct access to both ends of the spectrum, analyzing real data over, 5 years. Makes his findings incredibly insightful.
Okay, so let's unpack this right away. What was the big picture finding?
Well, at its core, he found this really stark contrast between the two groups. Just night and day, really.
Yeah, how so?
The habits of the wealthy, they consistently generated, yes, financial abundance, obviously, but also something more. A rich, high-energy life, purpose, good health.
Right, not just money.
Exactly. And conversely, the habits he saw in the poverty group, they often led to scarcity, low energy, a kind of dispirited state. It became clear it wasn't just about what's in the bank today. It's about those daily choices, compounding over time, creating their entire reality.
That makes sense. It's the long game. Precisely. And we really need to understand Corley's specific definition of wealthy, because it's important. For him, it's not just earning loads of money or having a high net worth number.
Okay, so what is it then?
It's about achieving financial balance. Income, expenses, savings, all working together. It's about maintaining a healthy, good quality of life, physically, mentally, emotionally.
Holistically.
Yes. And critically, these conditions need to be sustainable over time, not just some temporary peak.
Got it. Sustainable balance.
Yeah. He actually tells the story that kicked off his research. He was consulting for an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
Business was booming, bringing in serious revenue, like millions sometimes.
Wow. Sounds successful.
You'd think. But the guy was always struggling, always under financial pressure, especially around payroll time. Corley spent months digging into the company numbers, production, costs, everything. Couldn't find a problem with the business itself.
So what was it?
It was the entrepreneur's personal life. Terrible spending habits, especially nightlife, just burning through cash as soon as it came in, excessive living.
So income wasn't the issue, outflow was.
Exactly. Prove to Corley that income alone doesn't equal true wealth or a good life, not in that sustainable sense. If that guy kept up those habits, he'd never be truly wealthy by Corley's definition.
Right. Which explains why he focused on the self-made wealthy.
Precisely. He deliberately excluded inheritances, lottery winners, that sort of thing. He wanted to isolate the traits and actions that genuinely cultivate prosperity from the ground up. The levers individuals can actually pull.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Look, this deep dive isn't some get-rich-quick scheme.
Definitely not.
It's more about those aha moments. Seeing how these wealthy habits can genuinely improve your whole life, your mindset, your relationships, your health, just your overall well-being. It's a framework for a richer life in every sense. Okay, so today we're tackling this in two main parts. First, we'll dig into what these habits actually are looking at. Daily life, character, interpersonal skills. Then we'll switch gears and look at how you can actually start cultivating these habits yourself and, crucially, how to beat common roadblocks like, procrastination.
Yeah, the big one.
All right, let's get started. Okay, here's where it gets really, really interesting. Let's start with the everyday stuff. What are wealthy people actually doing differently day to day? You might picture yachts, maybe long lunches.
Yeah, the stereotypes. But Corley's findings paint a very different picture. It's actually quite counterintuitive.
How so?
He found they often maintain very structured, sometimes even tense or packed daily schedules, but not tense like stressed out tense.
More like a focus.
Exactly. Focused, highly productive. And despite these demanding schedules, they somehow maintain really high energy and excellent physical health. the key factor, pervasive self-discipline.
Discipline.
And this approach he called cautious in words and actions. It applies everywhere, not just money, but health, time, interactions, even their thoughts. They're constantly thinking long-term impact.
Wow. Playing the long game with everything, even the small stuff.
Yeah.
So give us some examples of this self-discipline in action.
Okay, take exercise. Corley found a significant 76% of the wealthy exercise. Aerobically think running, jogging, brisk walking, cycling, swimming for 20 to 30 minutes at least 4 days a week.
76%. That's huge.
It is. And notice these activities, they don't need a fancy gym membership.
Right. Totally accessible, no expensive equipment needed.
Exactly. It's about the commitment, the consistency, not the cost. And it's not just physical fitness. It builds mental resilience, manages stress, boosts energy, all feeding back into their performance.
Makes sense. And this discipline, it extends to what they eat, too. Right?
Directly. Dietary habits, get this. 75% consciously avoid fried fast food, even with their busy schedules.
75% avoid fast food. Wow.
And what's fascinating here, it's not about like denying all pleasure or some joyless diet. It's about prioritizing long-term health over that immediate, fleeting gratification. They get that the greasy burger might taste good now, but the long-term sluggishness, health risks, reduced mental clarity, it just outweighs the short-term buzz.
So is that future gain thinking again? Making decisions based on where they want to be, not just what they want right now.
Exactly. A subtle but really powerful shift in perspective.
And I guess this restraint shows up in spending, too.
Absolutely. Same disciplined approach. Careful planning for purchases, resisting those impulse buys. It's a consistent theme. Restraint, foresight, planning, making every dollar work towards bigger goals, not just reacting to sales or whims.
Okay, so physical health, financial prudence. What about their minds? You mentioned reading earlier.
Oh yeah, the reading habit is seriously impressive. Corley found 85% read at least 2 books a month.
2 books a month?
And 88%, almost 9 out of 10, dedicate at least 30 minutes every single day to reading. And this isn't just scrolling headlines.
Yeah, it's focused reading, right? Deep engagement.
Exactly. Intentional learning and absorption.
That's a massive commitment of time. What are they actually reading? It's not just novels, I assume.
Good question. No, it's quite specific. His research broke it down. 51% read history. They're often looking for patterns, solutions from the past.
Interesting. Learning from what's happened before.
Right. 55% read self-improvement books, actively trying to get better, learn new skills, refine their thinking. 58% read success biographies, studying the paths of others.
Learning from mentors, in a way.
Kind of, yeah. But here's the real kicker. 79% read direct, authoritative professional materials.
Okay, what does that mean? Like textbooks, industry reports?
Exactly that kind of thing. Academic research, detailed industry reports, financial white papers, original source material in their field, going straight to the source.
So this raises a big question. Why is that so critical? Why not just read summaries or articles about it? What's the advantage of going direct?
That's a fantastic point, and it's absolutely foundational to their intellectual edge. Reading the direct, authoritative stuff isn't just about gathering facts. It fundamentally shapes their decision-making and problem-solving in a way summaries just can't.
How so?
By going to the unfiltered source, the raw data, the original research, the detailed analysis, they get a much clearer, more accurate, more nuanced understanding. Think about building something complex, right? You don't just read a blog post. You look at the blueprints, the specs.
Makes sense. You need the real details.
They apply that same rigor. It lets them find effective, sometimes non-obvious solutions, spot challenges before they blow up, and crucially, avoid repeating past mistakes, their own or historical ones.
So it's about avoiding the noise, the hype, the potentially biased secondhand info.
Precisely. Someone relying on sensational headlines might make decisions based on fear or trends, but the person reading the actual economic reports, analyzing the data, understanding the historical context, they have a much more robust framework for making smart strategic moves. It builds deep expertise and critical thinking. They see opportunities and risks others completely miss because they have a better map.
Okay, so we've covered the daily actions, the doing. Let's shift gears now to the internal landscape. The mindset, the personality traits, what's going on inside.
Right, the inner game. At the absolute core, it's this profound self-belief and confidence, but it's coupled with a really strong sense of personal responsibility.
Okay. Self-belief and responsibility.
Yeah. Corley's study showed a staggering 90% of the wealthy don't believe their lives are dictated by fate or external circumstances. They firmly believe they control their own destiny.
90%, that's almost universal among them.
It is, and 79% are supremely confident they can rise from poverty or the middle class, which, remember, most of them did.
And you said this isn't arrogance.
No, not arrogance. It's a deep, grounded trust in their abilities, fueled by this conviction, and 90% believe this, that hard work trumps high IQ.
Interesting. Effort over raw intelligence.
Exactly. They're confident not because they think they're inherently smarter, but because they know they're diligent, dedicated, and willing to put in the necessary work. That belief makes them incredibly resilient when things go wrong.
That's a powerful foundation. And I guess that confidence fuels other traits, like optimism.
Definitely. He found 54% believe optimism is a key success factor. But even more striking, 92% believe that simply persevering in their passions creates good luck.
Wow. They don't wait for luck. They believe their effort literally makes it happen.
That's the belief. And get this, Corley notes it takes them an average of 12 years to achieve a significant dream.
12 years.
12 years. Imagine the sheer confidence, the unshakable belief required to push through potentially a decade or more of setbacks, opposition, failures, zero immediate reward.
That's incredible perseverance. Fueled by optimism, I guess.
Has to be. And flowing right from that confidence and agency is decisiveness.
Make decisions quickly.
Yes. Corley found 91% make decisions for their businesses swiftly, almost like a general on the battlefield, assess, decide, act, and crucially, they fully accept the consequences. No dithering.
Okay, but let's unpack that. Isn't that risky? Sounds a bit like gambling, just making quick moves.
That's the immediate thought, isn't it? But it's fundamentally different from gambling. Corley emphasizes these aren't reckless people. Before that swift decision, there's usually careful, thorough deliberation, often drawing on that deep, authoritative knowledge we talked about. They have strong professional competence.
So it's informed decisiveness, not impulsiveness.
Exactly. Clarity of thought, strong analysis, and then strong execution, taking full responsibility, win or lose. They've done the homework, weighed the options, then they act without second-guessing or blaming.
Got it. What else defines their character?
Passion is huge. 82% pursue what genuinely interests them. This isn't just chasing money, it's a real, enduring passion. You need that deep love for what you do to sustain effort over 12 years.
Right. Makes sense. You wouldn't stick it out otherwise.
And they set big goals. 55% dedicate at least a year, often more, to a single grand objective. That singular focus is powerful.
And to maintain that focus, they have to be good at saying no, I imagine.
Phenomenal at it. They have an incredible ability to say no to anything that might derail them from those big goals.
So what does that mean practically? Are they selfish?
It's not really selfishness in the negative sense. It's a necessary protection of their most valuable finite resources, time and energy. They understand every yes to something unrelated is a no to their main goal.
Right. Opportunity costs.
Exactly. So if a new shiny opportunity pops up but doesn't align, they politely decline. They're also strategic about workload, often tackling the hardest, most important tasks first. Eating the frog, Corley calls it.
Get the tough stuff done early.
Yeah. Eliminate obstacles. Save prime energy for what truly matters. Avoid getting bogged down in distractions.
Okay, we've looked at personal discipline, internal mindset. Now, let's shift to how they handle relationships. This is often complex territory.
It really is, and this area often flips common stereotypes on their head. Let's start with communication. A really powerful stat Corley found. 94% of the wealthy just don't gossip.
94%. Why is that so important?
Think about it. Gossip is inherently negative, right? It damages relationships, spreads negativity or misinformation, but it also makes the gossiper narrow-minded, focused on trivial stuff, kind of emotionally toxic.
It feels draining even to listen to sometimes.
Exactly. And it almost always backfires. The subject finds out trust is broken. Corley mentions seeing smart people who talk a lot seem insightful because they're commenting on others, but achieve nothing themselves because all their cleverness goes into trivial chatter, not building things.
That makes perfect sense. Wasted energy and damaged reputation. And this careful communication goes beyond just avoiding gossip.
Oh yeah. 94% also don't fully express all their inner thoughts, meaning they choose their words carefully, strategically.
They filter.
They filter with purpose. And 81% control their negative emotions. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. They still feel angry or sad like anyone else.
Right, they're human.
Of course. But they think before speaking. Communication isn't just venting, it's about achieving an objective. They ensure their words are constructive, purposeful, not just transmitting raw negativity that could wreck a situation or relationship.
So the result is they seem more composed,
Yeah.
easier to deal with.
Exactly. Pleasant, composed, effective, even when things are tough internally or the conversation is difficult. It allows for much better collaboration and problem solving because emotion isn't clouding everything.
Okay, so that's what they don't do. What about proactive relationship building?
Great question. They actively cultivate connections. Here's a surprising one.
Oui.
80% of the millionaires Corley studied make time to call important people for birthday greetings, even if they aren't close friends.
80% make birthday calls.
Right. Yep. And not just birthdays, other big life events too. New baby, big promotion, just checking in. Corley calls this creating emotional resonance, a kind of life support system for relationships.
Proactive investment in social capital.
Absolutely. And get this, about a quarter of the people they call reciprocate, deepening the bond. Imagine your business partner calling just to congratulate you on your kid's graduation. That builds real goodwill and trust.
It really challenges that common idea, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That people are friends with the wealthy because they're rich.
Totally flips it. This shows they put consistent, deliberate effort into cultivating those relationships through genuine thoughtfulness. It's an active strategy.
So thoughtfulness, careful communication. What else?
Underlying all this is honesty, a core principle. 85% always tell the truth. They even avoid white lies.
85%.
Yeah.
Why such a commitment to truth, even small lies?
Two main reasons, Corley says. First, obvious one. It builds that image of integrity, trustworthiness, people know their word is good, creates a reliable personal brand.
Okay, makes sense. What's the second reason?
This one's more internal. It fosters profound self-respect and mental clarity. Lying, even small stuff, is seen as a moral compromise that just costs too much energy to maintain.
How so? Energy cost.
Yeah, think about it. Every lie, you have to remember it, cover it up, build this fragile story around it. It's a constant mental juggle, a cognitive drain. They value their mental clarity too much to muddy it with deception. It lets them act with conviction, free from that burden.
Wow. That speaks volumes about self-esteem and integrity.
Hmm.
Okay, and finally, networking. We hear a lot about that.
They are incredibly strategic about it, yes. 86% actively connect with like-minded individuals who can genuinely help them achieve their dreams. It's about building a supportive ecosystem, not just collecting contacts.
Quality over quantity.
Definitely. Charles Schwab, the steel guy, famously said people perform better when praised rather than criticized. It's about constructive affirmation, mutual support.
Finding your tribe, essentially.
Exactly. And Corley makes this crucial distinction between true, noble people, or benefactors, people who offer constructive advice based on their own achievements, versus those who just offer negativity, skepticism, cold water, as he calls it.
The doubters, the critics who haven't done it themselves.
Right. They're quick to find fault, dismiss ideas, discourage. This raises that important question. How do you spot truly valuable advice? And just as importantly, why do you need to actively distance yourself from those unsupportive cold water types? Just like you'd avoid gossip circles.
So it's deliberate curation of your social environment.
Absolutely. Seek out mentors and collaborators who uplift and challenge constructively, share the vision, and politely, firmly disengage from the energy drainers and doubters. It's all about fostering growth.
Okay, we've explored what these wealthy habits look like: daily life, character, relationships. Now, the big question: how do you actually build these habits? Let's shift to the practical how-to. And you mentioned earlier this connection between habits and luck. That sounds almost mystical.
Doesn't it? But it's not mystical at all, according to Corley. The philosopher David Hume said, "Habit is life's best guide." Corley takes it further. Habit is the mother of luck.
Habit is the mother of luck. Okay, unpack that for us.
It's a core idea in his work. He argues that people we often see as lucky haven't just stumbled into good fortune. More often than not, they've cultivated good habits, maybe even unconsciously, that consistently generate positive outcomes. Their luck is actually the result of their actions.
So luck isn't just random chance.
Well, Corley breaks luck into 4 types. There's random good luck, like winning the lottery, and random bad luck, a sudden accident, something totally unforeseen.
Stuff beyond our control.
Right. He says those exist, but you can't really influence them, so focus elsewhere.
Hmm.
Then there are the 2 types we can influence, even create. The 3rd type is opportunity. This is good luck that arises as a direct byproduct of consistently practicing good habits.
Okay, good habits create opportunities. How does he illustrate that?
He uses this great analogy, the apple tree. Good habits are like planting and nurturing an apple tree. You prepare the soil, plant a healthy sapling, water it daily, fertilize, prune, care for it patiently over years.
Right. Consistent effort.
Exactly. And eventually, that tree blossoms and bears fruit. The apples are your good luck, your opportunities, your successes. You didn't just get lucky and find apples, you cultivated them through those consistent positive habits.
I like that. So what's the fourth type of luck?
That's misfortune. Just like good habits are seeds for opportunity, bad habits, procrastination, overspending, poor diet, neglecting relationships, are seeds that sprout misfortune.
So bad habits create bad luck.
They create the conditions for it. These habits root, grow, and eventually bear bitter fruit: losing a job, failed investments, poor health, broken relationships. The critical takeaway is that these last two types, opportunity and misfortune, aren't random. They are direct, predictable results of our daily actions and behaviors. We have way more control over our luck than we think.
That's incredibly empowering. It means we can actively cultivate good luck by cultivating good habits. Okay, that habit-luck connection is powerful. But let's be real, changing habits is hard, especially the bad ones. And Corley singles out one monster obstacle, doesn't he?
He does. Procrastination. He calls it a typical poor habit and labels it the single greatest barrier to success, and therefore the biggest barrier to forming any new positive habits. It's that invisible wall so many of us hit.
The ultimate dream killer.
Pretty much. He warns that even geniuses can fall victim to it, completely derailing their potential. One main cause he points to: a lack of genuine passion for what you do for a living.
If you don't love it, or at least find it engaging, putting it off is almost guaranteed.
Exactly. No intrinsic drive. You'll always find something else more appealing or less daunting.
Yeah, I can see that. Corley actually shares a personal story about this, right? About calling himself a procrastinator.
He does. How labeling himself that way in college actually reinforced the habit. Saying, "I am a procrastinator," made it part of his identity.
And that's dangerous, isn't it? The self-fulfilling prophecy.
Hugely dangerous. Here's where it gets really interesting. That phrase, "I am who I am," or "I'm just a procrastinator," it becomes this harmful justification. It stops growth dead in its tracks.
Because if that's just who you are, you can't change it.
Right. So the power lies in changing that internal narrative, shifting from "I am this negative thing" to "I sometimes struggle with this, but I am capable of change, and I will adopt new behaviors." Your language literally shapes your reality.
Okay, so recognizing the trap is step one. How do we actually fight it? What are Corley's tools?
He offers 3 really practical, actionable tools. Anyone can use these. First, the daily to-do list.
Okay, most people have heard of to-do lists. What's his angle?
He makes a distinction. There are regular tasks: banking, emails, meetings, the operational stuff. But then there's the crucial category: goal-oriented or daily must-do items.
Must-do.
Yeah. These are the small, consistent actions that directly ladder up to your big long-term goals. Like, if your goal is learning French, a must-do might be 30 minutes of reading French news daily. If you want to be top salesperson, maybe it's making 10 cold calls every single day, no excuses.
Little steps towards the big prize.
Exactly. He advises setting 5 small, specific must-do tasks each day aligned with your main objectives. Consistency is everything.
Okay, tool 1. Specific, goal-oriented to-do list with must-dos. What's number 2?
Set deadlines and use accountability partners. Deadlines themselves create urgency, right? Focuses the mind.
Sure.
But the real power boost comes from telling someone else about your deadline, a third party. That external accountability creates this healthy pressure that dramatically improves follow-through.
Like telling a friend or a coach you'll have that report done by Friday.
Exactly. You're way more likely to do it than if it's just a promise to yourself. It's like a social contract, even an informal one. Powerful incentive.
Okay, deadlines plus accountability. Makes sense. And the third tool?
This one's about self-talk. Do it now. He calls it a form of positive self-brainwashing.
Do it now. Okay.
Instead of letting that voice of, "Ooh, I'll do it later," take over, or reinforcing the "I'm a procrastinator" label, you actively train your mind with this simple, forceful command. When you feel the urge to delay, you internally repeat, "Do it now, do it now."
Interrupting the inertia.
Precisely. You immediately tackle the task you're putting off. It's like an internal alarm clock for action, replacing the urge to delay with a command to act.
All right, so we have tools to fight procrastination.
Yeah.
The to-do list, deadlines, do it now. But what about systematically changing those underlying habits, replacing bad with good? What's the mechanism for that? Corley has a specific tool, right?
He does. It's brilliantly simple but really profound. The habit awareness chart. It's not just theory, it's a daily practice designed to make the subconscious conscious.
Okay, habit awareness chart, how does it work?
Super straightforward, but it takes discipline and total honesty. You take a piece of paper, fold it vertically down the middle, 2 columns.
Got it, left side, right side.
Step 1 is awareness, the daily ledger. On the left side, you meticulously list every single thing you do all day, from waking up to sleeping, like a financial ledger, but for your actions and time.
Every single thing, like brushing teeth, scrolling phone.
Everything. Be specific, non-judgmental. Example. 6:30 a.m. Alarm, scrolled social media in bed 15 minutes. 6:45 a.m. Brushed teeth while listening to true crime podcast. 7:00 a.m. Ate leftover cake for breakfast, felt sluggish. 7:30 a.m. Drove to work, 40 minutes traffic, stressed. Be brutally honest.
Okay, a detailed, honest log of the entire day. Then what?
Step 2 is evaluation. Go back through that list. Mark each habit with a ball, plus if it's good, serving your goals, health, etc., or a ball if it's bad, hindering you, unhealthy time wasting.
So scrolling in bed gets a minus. Listening to true crime, maybe a minus if it wasn't productive. Overeating cake, definite minus. Driving in traffic, maybe a minus if there's a better alternative.
Exactly. This visual audit immediately shows your actual patterns, not what you think you do.
That awareness step sounds absolutely critical.
Yeah.
It makes me think, why do most New Year's resolutions fail?
Great question. Corley would say it's often because people skip this exact step. They jump straight to adding a new habit. I'll go to the gym. Without first understanding with real clarity the existing bad habits they need to stop or replace.
They don't know what they're fighting against.
Precisely. This chart forces you to see it. The video scrolling is why I'm tired. The drive-through lunch is why my budget's blown. You connect the habit directly to the negative outcome. It's undeniable self-awareness.
Okay, so awareness and evaluation first. What's step 3?
Step 3 is envision and implement the new habit column. On the right side of the chart, directly across from each minus-marked bad habit, you write down the desired new habit you want to replace it with.
Okay, so next to scrolling in bed, you write,
Maybe woke up, did 10 minutes light exercise, plus felt energized. Next to ate leftover cake, you write, ate balanced breakfast, plus felt alert. Next to drove in traffic, maybe took bus, listened to educational audiobook, plus felt productive.
creating a positive alternative for every negative. I love it. And how do you actually make the switch?
Corley calls it the look and do strategy. It's simple but powerful. Whenever you catch yourself about to repeat a bad habit from the left column,
You glance at the chart.
you glance at the new positive habit you wrote on the right side, and you immediately do that instead. It forces an active choice, right there in the moment.
Wow. It makes the choice conscious and deliberate.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is the cumulative power. These small changes, one healthy breakfast, one walk instead of scrolling, seem tiny day to day. But over time, they build into what Corley calls a success avalanche.
A success avalanche.
Yeah. This disciplined, incremental approach leads to huge improvements across the board: health, work, relationships, overall life quality. It really shows how those tiny daily choices stack up to create your destiny. Hashtag outro.
Wow. We have covered so much ground in this deep dive, unpacking Thomas Corley's The Habits of the Wealthy. We started with those specific habits in daily life, a core character traits like incredible self-belief, the sophisticated interpersonal skills.
The discipline, the perseverance, the careful communication.
Right. Then we moved into the how. Understanding that deep connection between habits and luck, getting those practical tools to beat procrastination, and then using that incredibly practical habit awareness chart for real systematic change.
And to really bring it all home, Corley distilled everything from his 5 years of research, from those 177 millionaires, into something he calls the Wealthy Habits Commitment List.
A commitment list.
Yeah, it's not just a summary. It's designed for you to personally adopt, to reflect on daily. Each point starts with that powerful phrase, I will. It's meant as a daily affirmation, a declaration of intent.
Okay, let's read these 10 commitments out. Maybe take a moment, you listening, just to absorb them, perhaps even jot them down, or revisit this later and pick one to focus on. Ready?
Go for it.
Okay, number 1, I will cultivate my daily good habits and follow them every day. 2, I will set daily, monthly, annual, and long-term goals, then wholeheartedly pursue my goals. 3, I will improve my self-worth every day. 4, I will focus on my physical health every day. 5, I will build and maintain sustainable relationships every day. 6, I will live disciplined every day. 7, I will tell myself, do it now, to complete the day's tasks on time. 8. I will live with a wealth mindset. 9. Every time I receive my salary, I will save 10%. 10. I will control my thoughts and emotions every day.
Those 10 commitments, they might seem simple on the surface, but they represent the practical pathways Corley saw again and again in those self-made millionaires. And remember, as we discussed with his definition, wealthy here isn't just about money.
Right. It's much broader.
It encompasses that richness of spirit, genuine happiness, robust health, strong, supportive relationships. These habits are the routes to achieving not just material wealth, but that deeper spiritual, mental, and relational abundance too.
That's a great final thought.
And maybe one last piece of advice. Don't try to tackle all 10 at once. That's overwhelming. Just pick one. One habit from that list, or one you identified on your own habit awareness chart from today's discussion. Start cultivating just that one habit, starting today.
Start small, be consistent.
Exactly. Be consistent and just observe the shifts, sometimes subtle at first, that begin to happen in your life. That's the start of your success avalanche.
An incredible thought to end on the power of just one consistent habit to change everything. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the habits of the wealthy. We really hope these insights give you something to think about, maybe inspire a small action today. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.